So I was working on an upcoming video until, out of nowhere, we started getting these. What you're seeing here is from SORA, OpenAI's most recent model, and it is jarring, but not entirely unforeseeable. I didn't gasp, I didn't panic, I just sighed, thinking to myself, this was faster than I expected. But here we are. As of February 2024, this is not available to the general public, and some of the submissions were done by Sam Altman himself on X Twitter via request. But the reaction to SORA is an intriguing one. There are of course already reactions. I know I'm a little bit slow to the draw with that one. But in principle, it's kind of just been around the corner, and now it's something that can be done. Albeit in a controlled setting, but it's there now. It's not perfect, and if you know it's AI beforehand, you'll see the seams, right? But with the incredible amount of detail that it provides, so it begins. The race, the scramble of all the other text-to-speech generators to achieve the 1-minute long availability that SORA can do. We've seen the comparisons between the Will Smith eating spaghetti video from a year ago and the very crisp images that we have today. And I believe this illustrates something very fundamental and very potent about AI-generated content. When DALL-E came out, I talked to graphic designers and artists who I knew, and they all had their different interpretations and understandings of the technology and the outcome on the industry. And in some instances, some were nervous for their craft and for their industry. And a reoccurring critique was the idea that some of the elements were inhuman, or simply not understood by the AI. Notoriously, we understand that hands are currently hard to do consistently, and we can certainly see that in some of the videos from SORA. It also seems to struggle a little bit with depth, or at times a large amount of subjects in particular. This one is really jarring. With the puppies popping in and out of existence, that one is just, wow. It's really weird having something be hyper-real, look really realistic. It's very uncanny. The point is, there is this notion of the current limitations as an example for the technology's irrelevance, right? I know it's difficult for even humans to draw hands consistently, but some dedicated artists still take their time to learn how to do them properly and master their craft. However, the issue here is not whether or not something can be accomplished, right? It's how long until it's able to achieve this, and with hands will probably be one of those things that continue to be noticeable until one day it just isn't. A new piece of software or an implementation of a new technique will make the process smooth and seamless. We have to think about it technologically. Every obstacle that is presented isn't some limitation, it's an engineering problem to be solved. Because it is ever-changing and seemingly exponential. We must not think of it as what we have now, but of how it's going to be 5 years from now, a year from now, or even 6 months from now. SORA is incredible. It's insane. And a use case that is primarily going around is the use case of using it as stock footage. I've been showing it back and forth to illustrate it here, but it's not impossible to imagine that I'd be able to just generate footage that I would need for a future video. But I feel like that's a topic for another time. For now, I believe we need to keep a level head on this technology and how it works and how it's being implemented and how to use it ethically and responsibly. And it's not going to be easy. It's a difficult task, but I believe it is one we have the responsibility to do. Generative AI in particular represents this leap into a new era of perception. And yes, with the rise of the internet and other technologies, we've seen the possibilities of manufacturing false information. We aren't supposed to always believe what we read online. But as humans, seeing is believing. Our sense of sight governs our species. What happens when what we see can no longer be trusted? When what has happened is no longer what happened? When we only see what we are told to see, when what we see is only a visual echo of what has been, and when that visual echo becomes the only thing we ever see, reality becomes obsolete. Reality is dead, and we killed it. I would love to have your thoughts and opinions on this. I'll see you around, and remember to stay human out there.